Hello everyone, welcome back to the all-new YouTube series Back to School. You guessed it right, we are headed back to school to interview some of our favorite teachers. Of course, it's been almost a decade. I can't believe I'm growing old. But yes, it's been 10 years since I graduated from school, and since I'm working from my hometown, I couldn't and I wouldn't miss this opportunity of visiting school again and interviewing some of my favorite teachers. But while we kickstart this series, who better to interview first than our beloved principal ma'am? Now, for most of you, you might have had a principal you would have cherished through the years at school. You might have been scared of them. Let's get on to our chat with Mrs Shikha Banerjee, who is the warmest, kindest and one of the most lovely human beings that I have had the privilege to meet in person. Welcome, the principal of Seth Anandram Jaipuria School, Kanpur. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
A very big good morning and thank you from my side also, because interacting that also with the present generation, today's millennials,
Yes.
gives us a huge feeling of some extra accomplishment.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice and kind of you, ma'am, to actually grace me with your time. So thank you so much for doing this. And so for today, basically the entire YouTube series that I'm trying to create with different teachers and of course with you is about education then and now. It's been almost 10 years since I've graduated from school, and I want to understand and acknowledge the differences between students then and now, the education system then and now with online classes gaining ground. What are the key challenges that we are facing? So I have a couple of questions for you, some fun ones, some not so fun ones, but I've kept them as simple as possible, and for the audience to get to know how the school is faring at this point in time in the digital era. The theme for our interview session, of course, is I call it Principles and Principles in the Digital Era. So around that, ma'am, I wanted to ask you my first question, that you've been the torchbearer for students and staff trying to navigate through the nuances of the digital era. What are the three principles you believe in for individuals that can help them navigate through uncertainty at any given point in time?
Education is all about creating an awareness among children, getting them prepared for the various changes that will come.
Right.
Because change is the only constant, we know that.
Absolutely.
Right? So, if we are prepared enough and our children are prepared enough to accept change, which you have to accept that during the pandemic, my teachers and my students bounced back on the third day of the pandemic when the shutdown was declared.
That's right.
So adaptability is about a habit, about a mindset, about a perspective, and how you take it forward. And I feel very proud to say that all throughout, whether we are talking about education in the yesteryears or we are talking about education today, Jaipuria has always been very progressive, way ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
Because digitalization did not come to Jaipuria during pandemic.
Right.
It was much before that. I think 2018 end or 2019 beginning that we were into digital content, taking them, transactioning the classes, having evaluation procedures based on those. So teachers were not novice when it came to March 2020.
Yes.
Nor were students.
Yes.
So if I look at it, I feel that if there is a preparedness and acceptability towards change, no challenge is big enough.
Well said, ma'am. That's well said. So, no challenge is big enough, especially if you are a Jaipurian.
Yeah, if you are a Jaipurian.
Yes.
We still, the walls of this building still echoes with that mighty, mighty Jaipurians.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we always shout that out in any event whenever you meet a fellow Jaipurian.
And I feel like it sinks in me. You know?
Yes. So with that, ma'am, we are there on our second question. That at a time when it's so challenging to be a custodian of such strong principles, how do you encourage students to focus on their studies as well as their personalities?
See, actually, as the digital era sunk into our life, one of the few things that educationists understood was that as much as we may shout out about digitalization and its benefits, there are ample, no doubt about that.
Right.
But the requirement of a humane touch will never go obsolete.
Yes.
So when we talk about personality, we need to be exemplary. When we talk about grooming children, we have to walk the talk. So it is again about the way you carry yourself and what and the way you execute. I'm just giving you a small example. When there is a court scene, we see in the movies, we see that the lawyer is trying to establish his point. And he's so convincing, even when he's not saying the right things.
Yes.
So I didn't mean to say that we are not going to say the right things. What I meant is the conviction with which you carry the things gets it established.
Sure. So are we trying to reinstate that for our students even during online classes?
Very much so. And another process that we have understood, there is nothing called teaching. Teaching never happens.
Okay.
What happens is initiation of learning. You may keep on talking for a good 30-40 minutes. How can you be sure that learning has happened?
That's
Can't be
right.
sure, no?
Who can't?
So it is about initiating the process of learning.
That's
And again, here I go back to say the presence of the teacher, the motivation of the teacher, and how the teacher carries it forward and puts it across to our students makes all the difference.
Well said, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, ma'am, it's been 10 years since I graduated from school. And this Back to School series actually acknowledges that gap and difference in the education system. And the fact that we've come so far and established so many milestones, we've overcome so many challenges. What are the key differences between the students who graduated then and now?
Not much of a difference, for the simple reason wherever they are, they have migrated equally.
Alright.
Have they, just because they passed out 10 years earlier, haven't you stepped into the digital world?
I have.
So, I mean, why are we looking for a difference?
Alright. That's actually quite a refreshing take that there's no difference at all over the past decade, because there is a certain myth, or I don't know, there are certain notions about students who are being taught online when they're graduating from school. There's a certain demeanor that they have after graduating from school, after graduating online classes, versus students who have attended physical classes, done lab experiments for themselves, not having access to virtual simulations.
See, we are in the era of social media.
Yes.
So propagating something for or against a notion is very easy. It's for you to decide what to take and what not to take.
That's true.
And introspect, observe, form your own opinion. Why do you have to go by what others are saying? It is about what you think, what you see.
Yes. All right. So, ma'am, as the head of the institution, here's a question that I've been wanting to ask you for a very long time. Who would an ideal principal be for you? Someone who can be friendly and approachable, or someone with a demeanor that demands respect out of fear?
A principal, I feel, should ideally be a person who, how do I put it, who can adapt to the requirement. You know, I will go to you when you are in a pensive mood, and my reaction will be different. If I see a child who is doing very well but is aggressive in its approach, my approach will be something else. Someone who is pensive and has lots of personal problems will be dealt in a different manner. Today's education talks about personalized attention.
Right.
You cannot have set of rules. Class 5 will do this. No, it's not about class 5 being able to do this or not. It is about customizing them as per their requirement, which is very, very different for different people.
Absolutely.
And the principal is expected to understand, participate, and motivate accordingly.
That's fair. That's a fair point, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, ma'am, on a lighter note, let me end the session on a lighter note. I had actually asked my social media followers on Instagram a question that they wanted to ask their principal. So here's a popular choice question that I picked from all of the questions that I received. At a time when every resource is readily available online, what is the point of schools today more than ever?
See, this is a point that is being pondered on before digitalization, during digitalization, furthermore. Again, I go back to what I've already told you, is the human touch will never cease. The requirement will never end. There is a difference between me sitting on the screen and telling you are doing fine, and then meeting you personally, placing my hand over your head and saying you are doing fine.
Well, I wouldn't argue with that. Thank you so much, ma'am, for doing this with me.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, mine also. I felt very good talking to you.
Thank you so much.
And as it is, principals love to speak, you know. So, given the choice to speak so many sensible things, made my day.
Oh, I'm so glad I could make your day, ma'am. Thank you so much.
God bless you, my dear.
Thank you, ma'am. As much as I am overwhelmed after this heartwarming conversation with ma'am, I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like this video. And if you do like this video, don't forget to share it with your friends and colleagues and take that trip down memory lane with them. And don't you forget to subscribe to my channel because there's so much more coming. Much love. I'll see you another day.